Good evening, everybody, and welcome to ATA Above the Apex, or Tap the Apex actually, GP2 Division on F1 2017. We are here for round 13 of the championship at the Singapore Grand Prix. My name is Mr. Michaels. Unfortunately, I'm by myself today because Craig Senna is away and busy, so you just have me in the comms box this evening. So round 13 of the championship at Singapore tonight should be a quite interesting one because everybody is going to be very close to the walls. It's quite a difficult track to get right, and we've got a few new drivers here tonight as well, so should be quite interesting as the drivers head out to the track for the first session. So, if you haven't seen the last week's race in Monza, it's worth to have a look on our YouTube channel. It was quite an interesting race, not the best race by our league standards. There were a few problems that were created. Oh, as F1 Acer goes very sideways out of the one of the corners there. Yes, there were a few problems from last week, and the drivers have been told by myself very sternly that there needs to be an improvement, and I believe they can, and I hope for a very interesting and good race here tonight. 17 drivers here tonight, so Q1 we shall see 2 drivers not taking part in session 2, so it's the drivers in 16th and 17th places respectively will be eliminated, unless obviously you crash, which around here will be very easy to do so. And then you also will not take part in the session. So another good lobby, 17 racers is good to see. The numbers being very stacked up. Also, we've got a couple of new drivers here tonight. So after the very eventful race of Monza, we now have Frantique leading the championship on 189 points. Flood Lions is in second on 168. Krog, who I believe won the race, got 164. Bulltail is 4th on 133, then it's HLG 72, Skyline 70 after a very good performance last time out, Manny GB on 59, and Joan on 48. Constructors, Force India lead the way at 195, and then it's McLaren 180, Red Bull 178, Mercedes 168, Williams 131. So Constructors very, very close. Championship seems to be a 4-horse race at the moment between Frantique, Floodlions, Krog and Bulltail. Bulltail needs to start winning races, although it's not for lack of trying because he's been very unlucky lately. But Frantique and Floodlions are very, very consistent. Krog has steadily got into the championship and is starting to gain a little bit of momentum. He's won a couple of races this season, quite a load of podiums as well, so he is still involved. Speaking of Frantique, there you can see actually, and he's not in a Force India anymore, he's in a Red Bull. The biggest transfer of the ATA, I guess, over the mid-season transfer, which by the way, transfers will now stop after these 2 races, I believe that is the case. Yes, Frantique decided to ditch the pink car of Force India and gone to Red Bull. He is now partnering with his title rival Master Krog, which in my opinion might see a little bit of fireworks because they're both quite close to one another. What it also means is it now puts Red Bull into some very, very interesting circumstances to win the Constructors. Of course, with Frantique at Force India, they were leading, but now it's Red Bull seems to be the favourites. Although, as I said, 2 front runners might be a little bit troublesome. So we shall see as Bossman has retired. He has hit the pit wall head on. He hit the curb on the penultimate corner and he's just gone headlong into the pit lane wall. Bossman is out of qualifying. I just caught that as well. That's unfortunate to see. But he will be taking no further part. So yes, as I was saying, Red Bull look very, very strong for the Constructors. Early days yet, so a lot of points available. But yes, currently fastest is Desert Eagle on a 40 38.7. Second is Skyline. He's just gone through. Frantic, though, has gone into the 39s. I think that is going to be the time we will see tonight for pole. So Frantic already flexing his muscles in his new car, 39.3. See if anybody else can get close to him. So there's Ryan on a 41.0. I think he should be safe for the next session. Tufty Candy in the Renault is on a 41.9. Mr. Pirate Pants, a new driver in the league in Renault, has done a 42.2. And we're going to have a few sniggers with that name, I'm pretty sure. He's one of the new drivers here tonight. Joran, there he is in the Haas, he's done a 42.4. And the other new driver is a Sleep Seal in the Toro Rosso. Now, also news from Monza after that chaotic race. A61ADs has been removed from the league. He said a few unwanted words to one of the drivers, which is not what we want to hear or see, and he's basically been removed from the league. Also to let you know that Honey Badger and the other Toro Rosso has a race ban for their shenanigans in Monza and as well as Belgium, but they continued it on racing in qualifying in Monza, and obviously they made a lot of contact with each other, so they got Honey Badger got a race ban, AD's got removed for other reasons. So that's that. Oh, and welcome back F1 Acer in the Ferrari. He's been absent for a few weeks, but he's now back and slides his way off the curbs as he goes round the track. There's the lone Sauber here tonight of Jake Piper, on the only one on the super softs actually, which is quite interesting. As we got old yellow flag, that's fast part time, has spun it in the first sector. Needs to get going again. He's got 10 minutes to go to set a time. There's Bart in the Force India as well. Another driver I'm looking at in this first session is Matty GB. Two sessions in a row, he has not made it through Q1 for crashing. Now he crashed out in Belgium and he crashed out in Monza. So I think tonight he would really want to get through Q1. Ever since we bought full qualifying back, he's had some trouble in the first session. So let's hope that he can get back through as he goes round the circuit. Now, Matty GB hasn't actually scored points for the last 3 rounds because of those qualifying mistakes. So he's dropped a bit back in the driver's standings, and is not helping the Williams team either in their constructors, because they could still actually win it, would you believe, being in 5th place in the constructors, because they're only 60 points behind the leaders Force India. So, and they're 2 very consistent drivers, so yeah, a few points here and there might be okay. Everyone that has set a lap is now in the pits, as HLG, actually talking about him, has gone up into 5th on a 40.7. Frantic, I believe, yeah, he's retired in the pits. He seems safe enough. Yeah, HLG has popped into 5th place on a 40.7 on the Ultra Softs. It's very good so far, as lap now. Have the lap time delta on. He crosses the line. It's a 39.7. Very nice. Beats his teammate by a full second there. So now, as long as he makes it back to the pits intact, then he should be through into the next round. The next session, I mean. So with Bossman's unfortunate retirement into the pit wall, it means really there's only going to be one person left who is going to be eliminated from Q1. And one of these drivers, don't want to be that, as Jake Piper goes sideways into the wall. He's having a few problems, I think. Both Ferraris have yet to set a time, as well as the Force India of Bart. Sorry if you hear my voice shivering a little bit. It's very cold where I am. I might get a jumper on for the second session. My hands are absolutely freezing. As Bart makes his way round the Singapore circuit. It's a nice track, this. It's very lazy and very picturesque, but it is very, very dangerous, very, very difficult to get right. The curbs can throw you into a wall, especially this one here, the altered Singapore sling from a few years back. And also this bridge down here, braking is very difficult, and you notice Bart had to sort of adjust his, well, it could be just lag. He had to adjust his steering round there. Just goes into the turn. at the moment in the championship has got a solitary 6 points to his name, but he is steadily improving. That's what we like to see. So the improving get involved in the league. Obviously there's next season when he comes in as fast part time goes into 12th on a 42.4. So the times are getting a little bit target. Jake Piper seems to be the one in trouble. 48.5 on Supersofts, but here comes Bar. Going to be coming round the final corner, which can be flat out. Might have to beat himself a little bit. He goes 14th on a 42.6. He might need to improve there with just under 7 minutes to go. F1 Ace in the Ferrari is the only one yet to set a lap. He's on an out lap now, so he should be fine. Floodlines in the McLaren, he's safely through, should be on a 40.2. I think he might be just setting a time to get through, because if that is his pace, he's a long way behind Frantique, who still tops the session on a 39.3. So it's a Red Bull 1-2 at the moment. But this is only the first session to get through into the next round of qualifying. A few drivers going out on their out laps, even though I think they should be safely through. Maybe they think otherwise. Of course, they'll be grateful that the first session is actually dry, because Singapore is known for its wet weather. Can drop it down off as I'm just going to call it Mr. Pirate, just to be that guy. I'm not going to say his name, I'm going to start sniggering. Oh, how close he goes to the wall. Jesus. As he now goes onto his lap now. Let's ride on board with him, actually. This new driver in the Renault as he goes down into turn 1. Another thing with this track is track limits. The white lines can be crossed very often at this track. Obviously these guys don't really want to do. Fast part time improves to a 41.2. Just ahead of Tufty Candy, so part time getting a little practice in, getting much better. As Mr. Pirate goes sideways, opening up the DRS into this back straight here. Now going into the middle sector. It's been knocked down to 12th actually, as Skyline improves to a 41.0, I believe. The times are steadily improving. Still Jake Piper is the danger man really, or the one in danger on a 48.5, still on his super softs. Keeping the best up his first run as Mr. Pirate goes through the middle section. Now he's got a car in front of him. I believe a Ferrari, it's F1 Acer. And oh, Mr. Pirate, nearly hit the wall on the inside. A little bit of lag in the lobby, but not too much as F1 Acer gets out of the way. And in the middle sector, decent lap so far on the Pirate. He was very eager actually when I found him earlier this morning to join the league. But it's good to have him. Good to have any driver into the league. It's good to see the league expanding, or league replaced with new drivers. As soon as one goes out, another one goes in. As he now is finishing off his lap. Not one of the fastest obviously, but he's just trying to get through into the next session, and he goes, improves to a 41.7. Goes P10. Decent lap. That should see him safely through to the next round. Is out there as well. The top 8, apart from Desert Eagle, are in the pits. Now, if anybody has actually seen the F1 race in Monza, I advise you to check it out on our YouTube channel. The F1 race around Italy. Qualifying was absolutely ridiculous in one of the sessions, where we had a second covering the entire field of 17 drivers. It was ridiculous. So yeah, that's worth a check. It's also worth a check to see how Bultel did, because he made an appearance in the F1 division, which we always seem to encourage. Always want to encourage, I mean. Any driver in GP2 that want to reserve an F1 on the Friday, they are more than happy to, if there is space obviously. As I believe Matty GB didn't improve. Someone has. I can't see who has. As we have just under 3 minutes to go in the session. A sleep seal is out in the Toro Rosso. Jake Piper is the one that is sort of on the bubble here in 15th place. As I said, the only one on super softs, and again, he's lagging. The connection always seems to be interesting. Not good to see it. F1 Acer in the Ferrari struggling as well. Don't think he likes this track. But his teammate relatively safely through in 9th place in fast part time. He goes through now. Just needs to finish up the lap. He definitely needs to go on another one. 2 minutes to go. Very sideways. Might even have traction control off if he's going sideways that much, as he goes across the line now on a 43.9. Doesn't count either. In a bit of trouble. See what Jake does. He's on another lap now. There's a Mercedes is out there. There must be Desert Eagle. This first session normally doesn't bring the drama. It's the top 10. The battle for the top 10, which is very, very competitive with these guys. But obviously you do not want to be the one person that retires or doesn't get through to Q2, because then you have to wait the entirety of the session of qualifying. As Jake again, the lag is proving interesting. See what F1 Acer does. I think he's fully backed off, or no he hasn't. The lobby isn't the best tonight, must be said, but so we carry on. Oh, another thing that happened from Monza, the safety car will not be making an appearance here tonight because we discovered has not been fixed from Codemasters. Absolutely brilliant. Yes, we basically found that there was too many problems, kept on coming out, and the ghost cars, whenever someone left the session, they were still going around and they messed up people. So the safety car will not be put back on unless Codemasters have said they will fix it in a patch, in which we will test it, and then if it does work then we may have it on. And there's a good time, and Desert Eagles crashed it! No! No! Oh my goodness, that's the last corner as well. He was fully through on a 40.7 and he's out. F1 Acer goes back into the pits, and I actually not sure whether he go through. Jake actually improved to a 42.6 and he is safely through now. The gamble did kind of pay off as Joran is finishing up his lap, but Desert Eagle, he was safely through into the next session. Obviously maybe wanted to get some more practice in, but he is out of qualifying. Did a similar thing to what he did in Belgium actually. Going on dry tyres when it was wet. Maybe another mistake, but he's out of qualifying. So that, I believe, will be the session over. We'll go through into Q2. A few messages popping through, bear with me guys. Yeah, a few messages in the chat between the drivers. Desert Eagle's not very happy about his mistake that he's made there. Yes, Frantic is the one that has topped the session, as the rest of the drivers are just heading back to the pits now. Joran is still on his lap, so see what he does here. Hope he doesn't crash it either, because that would be terrible thing to do. They're very competitive at the front. Red Bull 1-2 with Bulltown third and the Mercedes. Matty GB up there as well, which is good to see. He's through to Q2 for the first time. Well, I say the first time. This is the third time we're using full qualifying, so up there. Floodlines might be wanting a bit more pace out of his 40.2 as Joran crosses the line to do a 41.8 right at the end of the session. So he does a good improvement now. That's alright. So Odd Floodlines, it's HLG 6th place in the Williams. IGG Skyline in the Haas, just ahead of Fast Pot Time in the Ferrari. Tough Candy in the Renault, so the two Renaults 9th and 10th. Joran in 11th in the Haas. Bart in the Force India will also be through. Asleep Sea on the Toro Rosso will be through, and Jake as well on the Super Softs managed to get through. So I'm just waiting for the timer. Excuse me. Just waiting for the timer to run down. Andy in the pits should retire. I believe he has. So that will be the end of Q1. And the leaderboard should come up any second now. And it does. So that is the end of Q1. And Desert Eagle. F1 Acer didn't actually go through because he didn't set a time. Neither did Bossman because he crashed. But because Desert Eagle crashed as well, he will not be in Q2 either. So we'll have 14 drivers competing for the top 10. Times are a little bit spread across the entire field, but it is Singapore, to kind of expect. But we go into the next session now. Say hello to the 3 viewers currently that we have watching. I cannot see on the chat because I don't have the chat up at the moment, so I can't see any comments. But I hope you are enjoying the action so far. It is a little bit stop and start at the moment for full qualifying, but that's just the way it goes. But obviously, I hope we provide a good, entertaining race for tonight as we go into Q2 now. So yeah, as I said, 14 drivers for the next session in Q2 because Desert Eagle crashed and Bossman and Acer get eliminated. Now quite a few drivers, as you can see on the left hand side of the screen, are changing their tyres to super soft. Now that'd be an interesting strategy to go for. Quite a few drivers. Skyline always seems to do that, and he's out already. So interesting stuff. Bloodlines, in fact, actually going on the soft tyres, so quite interesting. Big gamble as well because the times were quite spread out over Q1, so it might be good. But again, no, it does obviously depend what the race conditions are. Weather-wise for the race, because if it's raining, obviously if you start in the harder tyre and it's rains halfway through, obviously that'd be the best strategy to be on, but obviously I don't know, so gotta go with this. Should be quite competitive to get into the top 10. Will we see the likes of the new drivers coming in, Mr. Pirate and the Sleep Seal going in there? Will we see the likes of Fast Part-Time come through? Obviously he got into the top 10 in the first session, so he must feel a little bit confident to get in there. Jake Piper needs to improve his pace. I think he was on the bubble as we have a yellow flag in sector 3. Sleep Seal has actually lost it. Where's he done that? Where has he done that? That is beginning of the first sector, I think. No, it's beginning of the first sector. It said third sector on my screen, actually. Right, let's be on board with IGD Skyline as he sets his lap. And it's all key for these final corners to get them as much speed as possible as you open up the DRS down into turn 1. You're going to mind the track limits in turn 1, clip the curb, but he missed the curb and went very sideways actually. That combination of the left, right, left. And now he goes down into this corner right here. Can be very tricky because understeer can throw you into the wall on the left. But he's done very well as he opens up the second DRS now for this long back straight. Going to see a lot of overtaking into this corner right here, which is a 90 degree left-hander. A lot of 90-degree corners as he goes into the middle sector now. It's all about stability, this track. You've got to have very confidence in your car. Got to mind the walls. Now the Singapore thing changed over the years. There's a lot more interesting now, especially this tight rack handle, and he's gone exactly get the best angle in there, but it made it work for him. Goes across the Anderson Bridge, down into the hairpin, heavy braking. He was a very good lap actually so far, and that is now the middle sector, but now this is the make the lap. The final sector is into that corner, clips the apex, a little bit of lag through. This can be a difficult corner because you're blind on the entrance. Mind the curbs on the inside and outside of both these corners now underneath the grandstand. That can be a scene of many accidents there. Goes sideways through the curb. Trap limit's going to be very careful with this final chicane. He can very easily cut it. And in the final corner, dab down into 5th, clip the apex. Is this going to be a lap? It is, but it's corner. No, he didn't corner cut. I thought he did. There's a 41.9 on the Super Softs, immediately beaten by Jake and Sauber on a 41.2. So he, I think, has improved his time. Tufty Candy goes second in the Renault with that lovely green helmet that he has. So I don't think Skyline will be very happy with that lap. I think he definitely needs to improve. Fast part time comes across the line and sets a 41.3 on the Ultra Softs. Bart's gone in a 43.1. HLG goes fastest in the 40s on Super Softs. Good lap from him, as they can now go flying across the line. Mr. Pirate, 41.5 on the Ultras. Good lap from HLG on the Super Softs. That's kind of the time I think Skyline needs to be aiming for, really. Here comes Matty GP on the Ultras. Very quick in the first session. I think he got into the 39s, and he does again on a 39.4. That should definitely see him safely through into the top 10 shootout. See who else is about to end their lap. Floodlines on this soft tyres, interestingly. And he's backed off in his lap. Master Krog on the Super Softs is just coming to the end of the middle sector now. It would be good to see if they do an update on the spectator to see whether someone does purple through middle or first sector, to see whether they are up on the pole lap. As he goes right over the camera there. That was a great little sight to see. Got a Sauber behind him who's just made a mistake, actually. Krog obviously winner last time out. Eventually in Monza the results had to be re-altered and altered again, but winner last time out is on a great amount of form here coming into this race, as he goes across the line very wide in the final corner and does a 40.1. Should be okay with that, but I think he should be relatively happy with that time on the harder tyres of those around him. This goes ahead of HRG. Yellow flags in sector 3. See where that would be. I think that's just Mr. Pirate, who's just floating apparently on my screen. Goes into the pits. Right, let's see who else. Frantique, Joram, Bultel, and a Sleep Seal have yet to set a time, but they're leaving it quite late by the looks of it. If I say late, there's about 8 minutes to go, so we've got plenty of time. Bloodlines on a second lap on his soft tyres. Locking up very interestingly. His gearbox is revving. Sometimes it does that with a lag and such like. Not giving that Honda any sort of special treatment at all. Let's see what he does. It's not good. Not going to be anywhere near where he needs to be. Soft tyres don't really work for him. It's a 42.6. No, he definitely needs to improve on that. Because you would automatically assume that Frantique and Bultel will be going through into the top 10 if they can set their laps good. As Bart has retired, he has retired in the pits. I think he's happy with that time. I don't think he can get any faster than that, or at least he doesn't feel so. Bultel in his outlap now in the Mercedes. Now, with 6 rounds to go in the championship, we've got tracks like Malaysia, Japan, USA, Mexico, Abu Dhabi, the finale obviously, which is double points by the way, for those that don't know. Double points in the very final round. So obviously the title is still, or the championship is still relatively wide open between the 4, but this is the guy in 4th place. Now, he has the pace to win races, and I think lately, those races that he could have won, he's had bad luck, like disconnections or an incident has happened to him. Sometimes in qualifying as well, so he is a guy that really needs to get some results in. Very, very capable of doing so. But if he's going to challenge for the title, he needs to start getting points off the top 3 in front of him. And this is probably where it begins. in Singapore tonight. 4 drivers have yet to set a time, all out now. Bultel, Joran and Frantique on the Super Softs, a Sleep Seal on the Ultras. And Floodlines has improved to a 41.1 on the soft, so that's a bit better. A little bit dangerous though still, because the timing between himself in 4th to IGG Skyline in 9th, who is on the bubble there, is only 8 tenths, so it'll be quite interesting. He could be very brave call as Bultel comes towards the end of the middle sector now. Asked across the 39. A few drivers changing their strategy on the fly here. Yellow flag is set to 3. That was Jake who was spinning sideways. There, as we go flicking back to Bultel. And over the curbs there a little bit. Might be a bit close to track limits. Does seem to be the corner that you want to be very difficult at as he crosses the line now. Does a 39.7. Not as quick as Matty GB, but that should be safely through by himself. Sleep Seal crosses the line of 42.1. Not quick enough yet, as Bultel thinks that is good enough and is retired from the session. Frantique in the Red Bull on the Super Softs. Yep, to set a time, as does Joran. Joran's going to be the first one of the 2. As Floodlines has improved yet again to a 40.7. He's done a lot of laps on those soft tyres. So the advantage that he has, if he goes through on them, might not be good. As John does a 42.2, not good enough to get into the top 10. Ryan is now on the bubble in 10th place. So he's the one in danger there, and especially if Frantique can pull this lap together, which does look pretty good. It's not going to trouble the top 2, but he goes 39.6. It does get close to Matty GB. It goes second, and that should see him through to the top 10. So that now puts Ryan out of the top 10. Mr. Pirate is the one in 10th place. I love full qualifying. It's absolutely brilliant to see it working again as, whoa, never mind. Never mind. He was spinning and then he wasn't. Perfectly fine. So, a Sleep Seal goes very wide, and that's his lap gone, I think. 3 minutes to go. This is where the action and the entertainment and the drama starts heating up now. If you're outside the top 10, you want to get inside as Mr. Pirate improves to a 40.8. Puts himself a little bit more safer. Good lap thump himself in the Renault. Of course, Renault at the moment are second bottom in the championship in GP2. The only ones below them are Sauber. Sauber's actually got 10 points, Renault's on 16. So they're battling for, well, wooden spoon basically at the moment. So it's good to see Mr. Pirate, new driver obviously, in there as Joran improves to a 41.9. Not good enough just to get in. Fast part time's now in 10th place on a 41.3. It's so close actually between a lot of these drivers. Now trying to get into the top 10. Obviously Jake hasn't been in the top 10 before. Neither's fast part time. They're looking to get into that session before. Skyline has been in the top 10, I think, every time apart from Monza. So we want to see and have a look. Obviously he's on the Ultras. Got to be a fresh set. Goes across the Anderson Bridge, down into the braking. Now the only indication I can see whether he's on a good lap or not is on his own lap, and he is, it doesn't say. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Top right screen, you see the time going up. Goes into the third sector. You've got to hug those apexes really, and he does so in the second part. But a Sauber in front of him as he goes under the grandstand shouldn't be too much trouble. That Sauber should get out of the way, and it does so very nicely. Goes into the final chicane now. You want to get as close to the wall as you can, but he gives it a wide berth as he goes through the corner. Does it improve? He does to a 41.0, but it was a corner cut. So it doesn't improve his time. So he's got one more lap to go to try and get himself in the top 10. And Joran is actually finishing his session, so 12th place at best. Asleep Seal's also in the pit, so Ryan really is the only one that can knock Fast Part-Time out of the session. MacGB retires, yeah, that's in the pit, just checking. Yep, IGD Skyline is the only one that can knock Fast Part-Time out of qualifying. Oh, I bet Fast Part-Time is, well, it's currently on a lap actually, Fast Part-Time, so we'll see whether anybody improves. Ryan needs to find 6/10 of his previous lap to get into Q2. Bit tall order as he goes very wide of that hairpin. Sometimes it can kind of help you actually. Whatever he does, he goes across the middle sector now. Improvement of half a second, so he's on it. As the time ends now, all down to him. See whether Fast Part-Time could be in the Q10, and he goes sliding sideways. The tyres are giving up on him. Because obviously he's done more than one lap on this. Because obviously it won't help him in the race, but he wants to get through to the top 10. Very wide in here. Obviously he doesn't want to get beaten by Fast Part-Time in this session. As he goes across the line, is it going to be enough? 41.4. No, he misses out by a 10. Oh, and that's him gone. Fast Part-Time has made it, as has Jake Piper in 8th place there. But he missed out by a 10th of a second. I mean, in some ways, he gets fresh tyres to start the race on. He gets fresh tyres to start the race on, so that might be a good thing for him. But there we go, the top 10 has been decided. As long as they make it back to the pits, perfectly fine, and I think they should do so. But Matty GB is the one that tops the session on the 39.4 on the super soft tyres. So that does look some very good pace for him. Actually, I'm not sure. I don't know whether he... Excuse me, I don't know whether he actually set his time on the Ultras or not. Tufty Candy has improved his time to a 40.3. Very decent. But the Renaults, yay, the Renaults are doing good today so far in qualifying. Mr. Pirate, I don't know whether he's improving on his time or not. There was a car I believe has just retired. Yeah, he's going into the pits now. Doesn't seem the need. Going his size goes straight off the curb. He's got to be careful about that. So yes, we have the top 10 decided. So in that session, it will be both Red Bull and Krog, Bulltail in the Mercedes, Matty HLG in the Williams, Jake Piper in the Sauber, Fast Part-Time in both Renaults of Mr. Pirate and Tufty, and the McLaren of Floodlines. I believe I haven't missed anyone. And they will be set to battle it out for pole position and anything below that. Patronus, I can't see the chat because I can't have it running both at the same time. So anything you put up there, I cannot see it, but good to see you watching. Good to see everyone else who is here watching. Good evening to you. We just finished Q2 and we'll be ready for Q3 very shortly. The timer has stopped for some reason. I hope... there we go. Just worried there for a second. And there's the screen for Antique, the new Red Bull. Doing well for the team so far in second. So Matty GB actually did set his time on the Ultras. So Frantic, Bulltail, Krog on the Super Softs, Floodlines on the Softs, might work out for him, and HLG on the Super Softs. But there we go, there's the top 10 that is going to battle it out for pole position. So we got the top 4 in the championship. They are through into Q3, as they always seem to do, but it seems. So top 4 through in qualifying, and obviously they want to go for track position. It's going to be vital, although it isn't everything around this track because of the walls and the close proximity of the drivers battling. There might be a few position changes, also track limits in the race. I will keep on mentioning it. We'll see penalty. I hope not, actually. It might surprise me. Might be no one with a penalty. We can only hope, but yes. Now wait for Q3 to begin. Is it going to be dry? That'd be a good question to start off with, because we don't know that, and it is going to be dry. As we see the 10 in there, message from Desert Eagle. One v one boss man. Yeah. Right, interesting. So the 10 drivers are going to get themselves ready for the session, and 3 of the mechanics went out at the same time. That was a good thing to see. So who is everyone's bit for pole position? For me personally, it's quite close actually, as Dom. That's not how you take the pit lane line. You just go straight out. Fair enough. Yeah, for my bit for pole. Well, I think the top 4 in the championship all have an equal chance of getting that pole. But a little dark horse here, Matty GB in the Williams. He's shown some very good pace here tonight. Obviously the first time he's actually got through to Q2 and then to Q3 since we put full qualifying back on. So obviously he crashed in both Belgium and Monza last time out. So he's into Q3 for the first time. As I said as well, he hasn't scored any points, I believe, for the last couple of rounds after showing some very good pace this season. Very close to the wall actually, sideways as he goes across the bridge. But both Williams through is good to see. HLG, obviously the team owner of Williams. Every team has a team owner. HLG is part of the Williams. I say that through gritted teeth because that's the car I wanted, but you know, can't have everything in this world. But very good team owner for that. Obviously next season he won't be in a Williams because every team will be changed around. So every team owner cannot have Williams, or every team owner cannot have the same car again. So Bulltail team owner Mercedes will not have that car for next season. It's just a little shake-up that we have in the league. We want to keep things different and fresh. So we will see how that goes as Jake Piper is late out into the pits. Let's be on board with Frantique as he does his lap now. Rest of the gearbox very interesting for after the first few corners. Uses all of the road and possibly more and scrapes the wall on the outside. I don't think he got any damage in his front wing, very lucky. And he's got a Ferrari, I believe, a fast part time in front of him, which is on the lap. But obviously Frantique is catching on him. Go through the middle sector now. To the hands of the bridge. He is actually catching that Ferrari very, very quickly, and Dom does get out of the way. Quick shot. Is there rain? I think there is. I think rain is coming down. There was a little thing as we were on board of Frantique. The screen went a little bit lines. Let's describe it, and that's the indication that there's rain. Some people say it's lightning or something. I'm sure there was rain on the screen. I can't see. There's a few spots coming down. Yeah, so that changes things very quickly. You have to get your lap in now and quick. Yeah, the rain is coming down. So, and Singapore rain can come down very quickly. Matty GB 39.2 in the Williams. Let's see what Frantique can do. He goes through the final corner. The rain obviously not helping. 38.7. He gets it. Obviously with the rain coming down, you need to set your lap straight away. As Tufty is in front of HLG. HLG has got dirty air, and the rain is coming down so heavily now. HLG goes third on a 39.7. Don goes fourth on a 2 minute, but here comes Floodlines. So the drivers that really crossing the line now, they have the advantage because the track was at its best. The longer you stay out, the heavier the rain's going to come down. As Floodlines goes third, just ahead of HLG. I really think it's just going to be one lap here, because the rain is coming down very heavily. As Krog, yeah, he's missed his time. He does a 39.8, goes fifth in the Red Bull. Boomtail Jake and Mr. Pyro are in the pits, and that's not really the place you want to be. You want to be out, setting a time, really. Yeah, so the rain is coming down, and obviously the track is just getting less and less grippy. Completely threw me entirely. May have threw a few of the drivers, but Frantique looks very strong on a 38.7. Yeah, Matty GB is coming back into the pits. I mean, Matty on the front row would be very interesting to see. Bloodlines third, HOD fourth. Fast part time would that time of 2 minute 2 could be good enough for 6th place actually. Despite him spinning on his lap, I did see him in the background. We're on board in the McLaren. He's done a few more as HLG has hit the wall. As Dom is really struggling. But if you cross the line, really, you're going to get 6th place. I think he is sliding his way through, improves it to a 44.8. But I don't think anyone can really improve. As Tufty set a lap. No, go in the pits. Well, this is, I'd tell you, the one person that is going to seriously offend us. That's Boomtail. He has yet to set a lap time. I don't know why he left it so late, but he's yet to set a time. Matty has retired. Yeah, everyone out there now is realizing that you cannot improve on these conditions. As Boomtail's just got a load of understeer now on his out lap, and that's not what he wanted to do. Is that Glock? Is that Glock? No! Oh, I love that moment. Yes, so yeah, quite a few drivers now retiring from the session. As Boomtail, I mean, even though you're on a 4 minute 50 or something, it'd be good to set. Wall. I think he did. Because he's going to cross the line. I mean, it's best just to set anything. Oh no, that was an out lap. So he's out there. I do feel sorry for these guys now, because you can't set a lap time now. But pretty in 6th place. I don't think we're going to get any time improvements. It's just, oh Jesus. As I said, this is definitely not what Boomtail needed if he was going to set a championship challenge. He's got all 3 of his championship rivals. He slides sideways, get the car in a straight line. Goodness me. I think it's out of these 4 who's going to get 7th, really, because you're not going to get any quicker than the time's already been set. Gee, interestingly, coming out on dry tyres. Why? What are you doing? Krog as well. You're not improving, but never mind. Well, it's put pole position kind of anticlimactic, really. Don't see the rush at the end of the session to see whether people can improve their times, but you've got the opposite. You have to set your time very quickly because of the rain coming down. And that can always mix up the grid. It has mixed up the grid actually tonight, very interestingly. You can have it in career mode. You can have the 2 Salbers get through to Q3 if this happens in a session. If they set their time early and everyone else doesn't, then obviously you can go through. But Bulltail is doing the wise thing here. He's going to set a time. It's a 1:49, but he goes 7th. So the other 3 effectively have to beat, setting a time on. That's the thing to do, really. So Bulltail will be starting 7th place, or well, 7th place for now, unless the others behind improve. This is definitely throwing qualifying session out of the window as Tufty begins his lap, I believe. Jake also setting a lap as he goes sideways the final corner. That could be just lag or him going sideways. The track just completely changes when it rains, especially around Singapore. Completely different conditions. And obviously the question is going to be, is it actually raining in the race? That would be a very interesting part, as I'm going to send out a message now. GP2, please do not ready up. Yep, DRS. Well, that took a long time actually for DRS to be disabled. That is, that's always the indication. It's been an indication for the last few games actually. When it's wet and dry, the DRS turning off. And Pirate has retired actually in the pits. Lefty Candy's already as well. He's going to set a lap time, unless it's going to be slower than Bulltail, because the track's got worse since that time. And he sets 1:55 to go 8th, and Jake is going to be the last one to cross the line now as he slides his way through the final corner, sets a 1:57.5, and that is qualifying over. Well. Frantic takes the pole position in his new Red Bull car, as we see Jake Piper retiring. On the end, Bulltail is slowly goes around in his lap. Obviously, crappy. Mean everything as he's just spun it, going out of the hairpin. Just retire, man. Come on. He doesn't want to do that. Come on, spin it round. There we go. Damage the car in the process. Keep going. That's what happens when you go out. Floodline's also decided to have a look and see what dry tyres do. Wet track. Interesting. Starts this race in P3, just ahead of HRG. So both Williams 2nd and 4th place for the race. Good stuff for them. So they capitalise on that. Obviously a good result for Williams. Have put them right in contention for the constructors after not scoring. There is the qualifying over, and we will see the top 10 with the leaderboard with the times. Very interestingly, because that just messed up session. But Frantic takes pole in the Red Bull this time, ahead of Manny GP in the Williams. 3rd place will be Floodlines, 4th he, 5th Master Krog in the Red Bull, and Fast Part flying position in 6th place. Bulltail 7th, Tufty, Jake and Mr. Pirate all got called out by the rain, and they will start 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th respectively. There we go. Another entertaining qualifying session. It always seems to be the case now that we've put full qualifying on, but we will be ready for the race now. And the question will be straight away whether it's dry or wet. Messages flooding in. Obviously I'm not going to really read any messages now until the race is over, because otherwise that will interrupt the stream. it is dry for the race. Which is, I did say not to ready up, so see if anybody does. Hopefully they do not, because if they do, they will get a penalty kind. Qualifying ban or penalty points. Points get deducted from their championship. But it's a good thing that no one is at the moment. We'll be ready for this race. Obviously, I think it's a good thing there's no rain, really, because if there was rain, the race would go on for a long time. This is the longest race on the calendar for these guys, 50%. So I believe it's around 30 odd laps, which is weird because, I mean, the lap itself in the dry is a 140, which is one of the longest laps in time, similar to Belgium. Belgium has less laps in a 50%. I believe it only has like 22. So this race is the longest on the calendar, can be the most stressful as well. Now remember, no car in this league anymore, as F1 Acer did ready up, but there's enough time there, so that is fine, as we're going to get ourselves ready for the Singapore Grand Prix. Could be quite interesting. Safety car, as I said, not on in this league anymore, so we won't see that. But let's hope we have some good racing here tonight. Let's hope we have a clean one. Let's hope indeed. We have no problems, Codemasters. I'm looking at you as we go for the lights for the Singapore Grand Prix. 5 lights, and the lights out of the way they go. A slow start from the 2 Williams. The Red Bull and Master Krog is up on the inside. They're going past through them, and there's a hit from in the midfield, and there's carnage. There's carnage at the back. HLG hit Jake Piper, he's got a penalty for it, and there's a carbon fibre everywhere. What has happened? And there's a few people at the back having problems. Jake as well getting in there, but Frantic leads the race ahead of Krog. Krog had an amazing start past both Williams. HLG had some trouble unfortunately, but Manny GB is still up there with Bulltail in 4th. 5th place is Tufty. Go around the middle sector now. There's a few drivers in the midfield. We'll pass them way through. Dom is trying to defend from right up on the inside. Side by side going through the Singapore sling. Dom with a little bit of understeer just ahead of there as Bossman. He's trying to go back the inside of Bart there. So the midfield, as always, jam-packed as people sort themselves out. Great start from Frantique as he goes around leading the Red Bull 1-2. Now, so we got yellow flags in the sector. Floodlines is made no improvements really. He's down into 13th actually. He got caught up at the start. There seemed to be like a multiple connection as Manny GB goes sideways coming out the final few corners there. Obviously trying desperately to keep up with these Red Bulls who are on the harder tyre. In fact, everyone around him is on the harder tyre. In fact, there's a gap now. Tufty Candy, he's I think he's lost. Has he got damage on his front wing? Like he did, because the front wing was a final sleep seal. It was on the inside of the Toro Rosso, and Tufty had to take avoiding action there. Tufty, I believe, does have damage. He's got the Mercedes of Desert Eagle looking up on the inside now. Ooh, that can be close. Close between the pair of them. They've got Ferrari of fast part time. That top, the end of the top 10. Bossman, Acer, Skyline, all very close to another. Skyline has been passed by Bart, I believe. He's looking up on the inside, thinks better of it. He's got damage as well. So that's going to be the key thing here tonight, is the damage from anybody. Let's have a look and see. Floodlines has pitted, as has Mr. Pirate. They've been caught up in some issues. That's it. As oh, Manny's hit the wall at the end of the Anderson Bridge. That's going to mess him up. Can Bulltail capitalise? But he's got massive damage on his front wing. And Bulltail is looking. He's going to have a look up on the inside. Manny gives him the space. Oh, he's doing so well as well. Up there in the top 4, but he's got damage, and that's going to, you can see, understeered almost into the wall there. Not good. So So it's the two Red Bulls, and Frantique has got a 1.5 second lead already. Lap number 2, there he is, just going into the final corner now with his teammate following him. Hotel, DRS enabled now. As Frantique sets the fastest lap of the race. Because of everything on the first lap, the drivers are a little bit around as Tufty suffering because of that damage. Desert Eagle's through. A Sleep Seal on his debut is through there. And look, almost 3 wide between Bossman and Bossman's on the inside of Skyline. Can he get it stopped in time? Oh, had to go across the curbs. He's got F1 Acer also side by side for him. Very competitive stuff. And the bottom end of the points here as F1 Acer's on the inside. Oh, a little bit of a tap. But he's there. Jake Piper is also behind in 11th. Very, very well. As Bossman's going up on the inside of Acer. No, it's better of it. As Jake behind completely mistimes his brakes. Up there in 11th. So the two drivers really that are on the back end. As far as part-time is pressurising Tufty Caddy for 6th. Good solid start for Dom. Remember, it wasn't until what was it, Hungary, that he had no points, and obviously since then, it's like Stroll. Probably won't like me for saying this, but he's like Lance Stroll. Obviously, Lance Stroll had no points up until Canada, I believe, and then all of a sudden he started scoring loads of points, and obviously he got that win. You know, he didn't get a winner back; he got a podium back of his fast part time. I believe he has damage as well. Obviously, the damage around here, if you just clip the wall behind anybody, then that's going to cause a lot of trouble. Manny GB, I believe, has pitted and is down in 14th. So both Williams, I said they had a good position in the qualifying, 2nd and 4th, but they're both now outside the points, 13th and 14th respectively, as Tufty goes into the pits from 6th place, putting Dom into 6th. Obviously, you can't take that damage anymore. So damage just hurts you so much with no safety car as well. Those that got caught up at the beginning, it's just an uphill climb really for them. Also, you've got to keep your concentration up. Tufty goes onto the soft tyres, probably the best thing to do in this now. Just getting a few laps under your belt now, just get and see where you end up. Any battles going on? We got in 9th behind F1 Ace. It's got DRS, but no one near close enough. Have a go. And unfortunately, the top 3 are 10 seconds nearly ahead of a Sleep Seal. As Jake, is that lag or is he just? That's lag. Never mind. That's a lot of lag. As a sector 2, Bossman may have, I think, has had some trouble. Sleep Seal. No, he's retired. No, a Sleep Seal's crushed it. No. He was doing so well with that. That's before the bridge. A Sleep Seal on the Toro Rosso is doing so well in his debut. He is out of the race. And now puts Desert Eagle into 4th place. It's basically the top 3 flown away. They're now 14 seconds ahead of Desert Eagle, who's in 4th. Now safety car would actually help blow back up. Obviously it has way too many problems, so we can't do it. The front 3, the 2 Red Bulls followed by Voltel, are now up there. Desert Eagle in 4th, as I said. Fast part-time in 5th. Brilliant stuff from him. Skyline in 6th. Acer in 7th. So 2 Ferraris, 5th and 7th. Doing okay. Very nicely. Jake Piper has actually lost his front wing, so he's gone into the pits. Just drawing up into 8th. HLG, despite the first corner mayhem, is now in the points. As Mr. Pirate has he left? I believe he has. Let's see if I can get him back in. Jake Piper gone on to a different strategy now. So yeah, the front 3 absolutely flown off into the distance. See the debris Toro Rosso. So the 2 Red Bulls obviously now, as I said, with both Red Bulls, now they're in Frantique and Krog in the same team. They're both very fast drivers. They're both very fast drivers, so they've got to be communicating on their tyre strategy. Who's going to pit first? Obviously, they don't want to double stack as Krog clips the wall on the outside. It looks like he's struggling to keep up with Frantique here. Frantique obviously likes this circuit. Well, he seems like he does. With his championship rival Floodlines all the way down in 13th place now, after getting caught up in the first corner. Not very good. Now there's a battle going on between the Haas and the two Ferraris by the looks of it. And Bottom has actually gone straight on, and he's lost it there. And I believe he's going into the pits. Yes, he is. Rain's coming down. Rain is coming down. Well, that completely froze. Let's have a look. Going into the pits. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Rain is now falling. So that completely froze everything. What do you do now? All the Red Bulls have got to plan this very carefully because they're very close to one another. 3 seconds apart. Krog is under pressure from Bulltail now. So obviously if you started on those tyres and made it work to the rain, and the rain is coming down so heavily now to go into this helicopter shot, which is good. Yeah, the rain is coming down so heavily with that. So, and Bossman has gone straight on intermediates already, taking a gamble. Is the track going to be wet enough for intermediates? That is the question. As HLG has gone past Manny by the looks of it. As Manny made a mistake. Now HLG's just jumped through. It's a battle between Acer and Skyline. There he is. And Fast Part-Time has dropped it, and he's struggling now in these conditions. Why are we going on the helicopter cam? Stop it. I need to go back up to the front. As Frantique is now pitting, Bulltail's now pitting. Now because the two Red Bulls were so close, Krog has had to go another lap on the tyres, and that might hamper him madly. And yes, obviously crossover point for the intermediates is now, and in they come. So any damage you've got from the opening stint is going to hurt you. These guys, yep, everyone's going in DRS disabled. The rain came down ever so quickly. So it makes me think that we might be seeing a full wet anytime soon. Oh, Fast Part-Time has dropped off. He's had a massive mistake somewhere. He's down in 9th as HLG goes off. Part-Time doesn't like the rain. It's in there now. So, and the Mercedes of Eagle's been held up massively there. So who's going to be 4th place at the end of it? It's currently Maddie, but he's... There's that Krog is on soft. No, of course he hasn't pitted either. And he's going to lose so much time. And this is simply because Frantique was in front of him. And look, he's struggling. I know he wants to get back to the pits quickly, but he's got to be careful. Very careful. Oh, this has put his podium, well, 1-2 at Red Bull looking very unlikely now because he lost so much time. Bulltail still 5 Frantique. The Manny GB is the only other one yet to pit. Floodlines as well. Although Floodlines is just coming in now. It's right in a battle to get into the points now. We just got to see what is happening. It's obviously survival of the fittest, and Krog, as expected, is losing time hand over fist. Losing so much. Teak was 17 seconds, is now 13. Where is Krog going to end up being? Is he going to lose 3rd place to Desert Eagle, who's obviously on the right tyres now? And Desert Eagle get onto the podium to match his teammate with Bulltail. But now if it is raining, it definitely the walls look a lot more closer than before. As Krog goes into the pits now. Well, I did say the transfer ups crashing, and in the first race it as it goes on to intermediate tyres. Yeah, he's going to be well behind. Well behind. He's not going to lose 3rd. No, he's not going to lose 3rd, but he's going to be so far behind the top 2. Got to hope for a mistake if he wants to get any higher tonight's race. Still got a long way to go, only on lap 8 of this race. As it's yellow flags in the middle sector. Fast Part-Time did say he's struggling in the rain, and he's already got some damage. Found himself in 9th place now. Where's Manny GP going to end up? As Desert Eagle now moves into 4th place with Skyline behind him down. And behind him is F1 Ace, so obviously back in the league once again of his absentee. Desert Eagle sideways there. Oh, that's going to put him under so much pressure from Skyline now. Now if the rain does keep on coming down, it gets heavier, he might be looking at full wets. Everyone has fast spark time is into the pits, and he's going to drop outside the point, unfortunately. So Sleep Seal has left the session again before the rain came. And unfortunately, the top 4 have completely spread out. F1 Acer and Matty and HRG going sideways here. And HRG has managed to get past the Ferrari driver and F1 Acer, who's already got damage as well. Where it's going to be now. The closest battle on track is Skyline behind Eagle, and a fast part time unfortunately has gone down into 15th place. Such a shame, because you're doing so well in the dry, and the wet doesn't seem. A Bulltail has dropped the gap to, well, was under 4 seconds, it's now 5. Frog now 16 seconds behind the top 2. He definitely lost too much time, as Desert Eagle struggling, and so is Ryan. That rain is coming down very heavily. Full wets might be possible here. Fortunately, this does make the race distance longer. Desert Eagle goes sideways, and Ryan, oh, he's going to be all over him now. He's got the Williams of HRG. Despite everything, HRG's in like 6th place now. Yellow flags from your set. The boss man's retired. No, is that a crash? I think it might be. Yes, it is. Where's he done that? Where has he done that? Can't tell. That's the end of the middle sector. He's lost it. He's out. No points for Bossman today. And Skyline is climbing all over the back of Desert Eagle. He's going to look up on the inside now. Eagle gives him the room. Just. Whoa. They're right. The power on. Floodline's still in outside the points. He's in 12th. Coming up his way through. He's behind Bart now, who's in 11th. Bjorn is holding down 10th place at the moment. Bulltail's got the gap down to under 5 seconds. I'll keep an eye on that. Now Floodlines has in fact got past Bart into 11th place. There are flags in the final sector. So Bart and Floodlines and the other 2 drivers close, but Skyline all over the back, and Eagle, he's gone, he's sideways, he spun it. Oh, no. You could see he was losing control, and in just the slowest spin, and around he goes. Ryan is through into 4th place. Eagle has come out in 7th place now. So then the points, they're still pushing on through. Well, that was the, sorry, my dramatic sort of speech, I guess, with Eagle spinning round, but that was the slowest speed round I've ever seen. And now HRG, oh! HRG, just noticed how close they were. HRG and Ryan, 2 points separate them in the championship, and look how close they are on the track. There's a little bit of rivalry brewing between these two. Of course, HRG, good qualifying. Obviously the first lap, but he said he actually wanted it to rain tonight. And now he's got it. And now he looks to be very, very fast in these conditions. Oh, and he's looking at Ryan. Up on the inside, there's Manny GB has got past Eagle. Eagle is actually in the pits now. They're slipping and sliding their way through this circuit now. We're only on lap 10. Eagle wet tyres. Arquez, HRG. HRG. It's me. Leave the space. We're in a collision. The flag is set to 1. As I said, the obviously the safety car would change as wow. It's me. These two, doesn't end in tears, but these two are very close to another on track. Yeah, I said the Williams were 13th and 14th, but because of the rain, they're now 5th and 6th. So they still look pretty good as Ryan drifts his way around this chicanes there. And they're half a minute behind the leaders. The front three, because everything happened behind them, the front three just tore off at the start. And this transition to rain has now done it. Let's see what Desert Eagle's doing on the wet tyres. No, I don't think it's right enough for it. Not yet, no. It's not getting the grip. Bloodlines now finds himself in 10th place, actually. He's now behind Joran for that. For 9th place, let's see what he can do. Tries to get the wide line out of the hairpin. Oh, nice. Got very good traction out there. And he's Joran, passed through into 9th. Should get the braking stopped in time. No, he goes straight on. He goes straight on. And there's a Ferrari in front of him. He might be fast part time, but Flood missed his brakes entirely. Could have been put off by the Ferrari in front of him. As fast part time has actually retired, as has Bart. Bart has lost it. Bart's out the race, just past the bridge. The fast part time is gone as well, and I think he's just parked it there. Parked it there on the edge of the track. Now closest battle on track is between Skyline and HRG, yet again close to one another. That's a real shame for fast part time. It looks so well. Obviously 6th place in qualifying, his best position to date in qualifying, sight on the grid. The race unfortunately has come apart. The rain needs to improve on his wet weather skills, I think. That's no points for him tonight. As I said, Floodlines is now in the points in 10th place. Not been a good race for him, especially when his title rival Frantique is now in the lead. We're catching him actually. Bulltail's got the gap down to 4 seconds. This race ain't over. The Bulltail very slowly coming in. Krog, I think, has got 3rd place safely down. He's half a minute in front of these two battling for 4th place. Obviously penalties may change it, but with the gap so spread out, as I said, this is the only battle left on track. What wet weather does. An Eagle, those wet tyres definitely are not working at all. Losing time. And those points are just ebbing away. That the rain has... I don't know, the rain seems to be the same intensity since it came down first. As Tufty is retired. No, he's lost it in the bridge. As Eagle might get points, but Tufty Candy is out in the Renault. That's both Renaults are out of this race. What a shame, as Ace is now in the pits. Surely not for wet tyres. It's not time enough yet, I don't think. It might be, but Ace is in the pits for wets. Maybe he got something. So Floodlines is now in 9th. Desert Eagle's now in the points. In fact, the rain. Actually, yeah, the rain's come flying down. Look at it. That's ridiculous. And yes, quite a few drivers are now in the pits for wet tyres. See how Desert Eagle does. He's actually going to move up because he pitted earlier. The rain's coming down in torrents. That's ridiculous. So now these guys in intermediates got to tread carefully back to the pits. I said carefully. HLG's lost it on the bridge. Yeah, the leaders are in. Leaders are in. Wow, that ring. It was fine, and then all of a sudden it's just bucketing down. Ridiculous. Wow. At least the Red Bulls won't hamper each other. Now a full wets. Now this makes the track even more deadly. There we go. So the two leaders are in and out safely. Obviously this was the This is the running order actually of the Italian Grand Prix before the results got changed. Frantic took the win initially before the results were altered because of penalties, etc. Frog's in the pits as well in the Red Bull, just casually gets back out. Skyline. Okay, HRG stays out. Interesting. No, Matty GP stays out. Oh yeah, because again, the two Williams were close to one another. And HRG, because of his damage, is going to lose time to Ryan, who didn't have damage. So Ryan should get the upper hand on that battle that they're doing for fourth. Well, it would be fourth place when Matty GP does pit. Yeah, there's HRG. He's way behind Skyline now. He's got the Renault of Mr. Pirate, who unfortunately disconnected. Yes, once again, survival of the fittest with these changeable conditions. Matty GB should be going into the pits very soon. So unfortunately the gaps have spread out a little bit more. They seem to be near the bottom end of the points where it's closest. There's the Eagle now in 8th, Joan in 9th, Floodlines right up behind him now. So he was up behind him before, made the pass when it was intermediates, now they're on full wets. Look at the traction coming out of that corner as he's looking every which way to try and find a way by. Does the little cut back on Joan. Oh, so close between the two, but leaves the room, as is Joan, as they're going to go side by side through this corner. No, Floodlines is ahead. Can he get the break and stop in time now? John's trying to go around the outside. Floodlines is through to 9th place. This is damage limitation really for Flood. He's going to lose. He might even lose 2nd place in the championship to Krog if it finishes that way. Yeah, he will do. So, damage limitation for this. Let's see how he can get up. We're only halfway. Why are we only halfway? What happens with whatever? Look at the rain now. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Still that damage from the Toro Rosso. Also no safety cars. Matty GP goes into the pits now for his set of tyres. The next battle I think will be if Floodlines can catch Desert Eagle for 8th place. And then he has a 3-second gap from him to Acer, and then I think that's the highest he could possibly get. Unless something else happens. Ryan into 4th place. HRG actually dropped so far back that Matty might actually get in front of him. I think he will. He does. Yeah, so Matty GB, despite going an extra lap on intermediate tyres, actually got out ahead of HLG. So both Williams now 5th and 6th. Still decent points if they finish there. Yeah, they had to qualify in a 2nd and 4th, so they hadn't dropped that far back. But in terms of time to the leader, they have. Obviously getting caught up with various little problems during this race. Frantic in the Red Bull still leads as he finishes off lap 14. He has a 4.1 second gap to Bulltail, so Bulltail was still there. Fastest lap will be going to Frantic. I think we're going to dry up time soon. So 42.8. The only guy in the 42s, well, a long way actually. He's going to get the fastest lap for himself. Yeah, he's way in front of everyone else. Obviously, he was the quickest in the dry, but under these wet conditions, is Bulltail faster? That is the question. Can he close that gap down? I said in qualifying that Bulltail needs a championship charge. This is his opportunity. The Floodlines, well, 9th place. Floodlines in 9th place, looking to pick up minimal points because of his troubles. And with Krog half a minute behind them, he needs to get in front of Frantic. That seems to be the thing. As there's yellow flags, Eagle lost it. Hang on. I think he might have done. I think he had damage anyway. He's dropped back behind Floodlines. So Floodlines now is 5 seconds behind Acer, so he may get caught up with whatever mistake Eagle had. Now Eagle's got Joran behind him. This is for 9th and 10th place. Last two running around. Actually, no, Jake is a minute behind in 11th, so if anything else happens, he gets a point. So he's good staying out there instead of retiring. You never know. Eagle's another one, right? Fast part time. He had good pace in the dry, looking very stable in the wet conditions. It's just completely gone. And he's there as they're both sliding their way through. Bulltail, meantime, has taken the gap down to 3.9 seconds. Steadily catching Frantique. Very slowly. He is. You can just see him in front, and that's all you need. You need a target. So as you have a target, you can just start chasing it. He's got that now. And get the gap down. So there's Joran. Half a second behind Eagle. Of course, Red Bull do well for the constructors. For the overall constructors, they're doing very well as well. The first and the third, to see if both Red Bulls can follow it up tomorrow night in the F1 division, obviously. You see myself, who I currently lead the championship, along with other drivers like Elite Ryan and Skyline. You will see Skyline in the F1 division. He does both, which people can do if they want to. And we'll see obviously a few more new drivers actually into the league in that race tomorrow night. So obviously you'll see Fast part-time. He will be the host and the commentator with HRG, I believe. Yellow flags in sector 2. There's a Ferrari round. It's Acer. Acer's lost it. So he's down to 8th. So Floodlines didn't have to catch him in the end. Acer's spun it. The Floodlines is now into 7th place, which will be 6 championship points if he stays there, obviously. And he's got 26 seconds to catch up to this battle here now. Well, it's not really a battle. Manny, GB, HLG, and IGD Skyline is holding down 4th place. Way behind the top 3. In fact, Krog is half a minute behind the top 2. We're just sauntering ahead. Gap at the moment. Just hovering around the 4-second mark between Bulltail and Frantique. And Joran's still behind Desert Eagle. In fact, he's looking to the inside into turn 1. Just not close enough. You can see the spray as he try and fight the car in front. And Desert almost slammed on his brakes, actually. I think he just made a mistake. I don't think he did that intentionally. Yeah, Eagle's definitely struggling. He's out. He's out. He's hit the wall. And Eagle's out. Oh, goodness me. He's hit that wall that sticks out, actually. Bulltail goes past him. Eagle's out the race. Which means Jake, even though he's 11th place, can actually pick up a point here now. Be good stuff. And now we got Manny GB sliding his way back up to IGG Skyline for battle for 4th place. So Skyline has shaken off HLG and the Williams. He's now got another Williams to contend with, and Matty GP, who's flown up to the back of him. Very confident in these conditions, Matty. He's right behind Skyline. The rain is absolutely chucking it down. They've got the Salburn for Jake in front, which I hope gets out of the way. He's a lap down. I think he will, yes. Or does he? But he doesn't. He goes straight on. Actually, went on by a mistake, and he's got a corner cut penalty for it. He's trying to get out of the way, I think. Maybe he's just making mistakes. Matty GB now, the spray. It's getting in your face as you try and sliver your way past the car in front to go into the back straight. There's the Sauber in front. HLG in 6th. Just kind of cheering his teammate on, I guess, as Matty looks up to the inside. That's a late look. Skyline gave him the room. Fast part-time wants an invite, so I will. A lot of messages going on. But let's see as he comes into the box. Floodlines gets another penalty. Mr. Dom.
Mr. Michael. How are you enjoying this little battle between Arthur's just bend it again. You're watching this little battle between Matty GP and Skyline.
I am indeed. Got the salvo of Jake in front of him, who does get out the way. Eventually we're done. Great qualifying, I might say. Must say straight up. I mean, you look very strong in the dry, but obviously your wet weather skills have let you down tonight.
Yeah, they let down massively. I will say this: I was lucky to get away with the instance that happened in turn 1 because they happened like square in front of me. I'm going to love to see the replay of turn 1, but I surprised everyone in there. I surprised everyone in qualifying. Best qualifying of the season so far for myself.
Jesus.
Oh
no!
No, my GB, why did you do that?
Just spun him. Just spun him, isn't he?
He powered through that. I was on board with Matty GB at the time.
You record that?
I have indeed.
Ryan's not pitting. I don't know why he did. I don't know why he didn't. I don't know whether that's lag or...
Not 100% sure. We need to wait till after the race to find the answer to that one. But yeah, the setup was good. The setup was good in qualifying. At first I had to ease myself into it. Found some pace, found a good zone, there's pushing. On my actual first flying lap, I broke my front wing in Q3, where I unfortunately broke it. Managed to set a faster, obviously a faster lap time of my second run, but because of the broken wing, I couldn't go as quick, and the rain was coming down, so I was losing time anyway.
You definitely put a tick next to your name, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Let's check in. Right, so
it's not my
oh,
first...
Ace is retired.
Oh well, everyone.
Ace is retired. He's hit the wall. Ace is retired. He's out. He's crashed it in the final corner.
Yeah, big time. He's
final corner.
He's broken both right side tire wheels. As we see, Frantic coming through. Oh, massive crocs coming through the final sector now. I'm not really seeing many battles. It's a bit stagnant. It has been for the past couple of minutes. A lot of battle with HLG and Skyline, and unfortunately with Matty GB, as Jake Piper has been given a 5-second penalty for no blue flags, as he is holding up HLG at the moment. HLG won't be liking that, as he eventually moves out the road. Almost gives HLG a bit of a nudge there coming through into the last couple of corners. But I'll put it now anyway. But yeah, there's not really many battles that are happening at the moment. Have you? What's been the worst thing that you've seen so far?
Pretty worse. I mean, it's definitely miles better than Monza. We'll say this straight up. It's miles better than Monza. Safety car probably had something to do with it, but apart from turn 1, I mean, obviously I have my own general opinion on it, as Ryan does pit for his damage, unfortunately, that he had with Matty GB. But the story of this race really being the front 3 just tearing off at the start of the race, and that gap at the front, that's been half a minute for quite some time between the front 3 and then 4th place. Floodlines obviously got caught up in the first corner melee, and he was down in 14th at one point. He's made his way up into 6th place.
HLG was caught in that
race
as well.
For him.
Yeah, same with HLG. He was caught right in front of me. He got a touch. I touched him at the start, but that wasn't in turn 1. I don't know who it was. I think it may have been Jake Piper because he came across, I think. But yeah, that's
he got hit by someone behind him.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah, he did. Well, that's from what I saw anyway. Very briefly, it all happened very fast. I was just obviously focused on the top.
A lot of drivers had to take avoiding action going across the Singapore Airlines sign at the bottom of the straight here. As you're on board crop. Well, for me, I'm on board crop. But yeah, turn 1, turn 2, everyone had to obviously avoid because it's a big accident in front. We did try and keep it as clean as we could, but unfortunately, things happen. People obviously weren't getting the best things. HLG had a hard start. Krog got a lightning start.
Yeah, Krog got the best start on the grid, I think.
Yeah, as soon as those lights went on, he dropped that clutch and gone. He was out of there.
Yeah. Although, actually, I would say the story for me personally is quite an interesting one. Now you see that Krog is half a minute behind the top two. Now he was with them, but because his teammate Frantique was so close of the switch from dries to intermediates, he had to do a whole lap on dry tyres, and that has brought him so far back. Now obviously Frantique has transferred to Red Bull from Monza to this race, and hate to be that guy, but obviously if he was in Force India still, Krog would be still with these top two, so it's hampered him massively.
But
I did think it would happen.
Yeah, we did discuss this earlier before we went live, before we even spoke to anyone else. Yeah, with Krog being on similar strategies for the past few races to Frantique, when they're going to pit is slowly whoever's ahead. As Frantique has a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings, that actually could change the race if Buttel can close up.
That would indeed. I don't think Buttel has got one yet, but obviously we've still got 10 laps to go. Oh my god. That's what I said at the start of the race, or before the race started, which by the way nobody readied up, which is good. But,
yeah, but we weren't all ready when someone did ready up, so...
Oh. When it was Acer actually, I think I did that.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah, it was Acer. I thought it was fine because it was like a minute and a half, 2 minutes, but obviously if people weren't ready then it's not great.
Yeah.
We'll have a look at that. Gap between top two has gone up to 4.5 seconds. It's been hovering around the 4-second mark. And as you said, the gaps are just really spread out now. It's
yeah, the only people that are close to each the only people that are close to each other are the two Williams of Mighty GB and HLG. Both actually get closer to Mercedes in the Constructors' battle, don't forget, overall, because the winners of the Constructors' battle, the team owner of that team, so if, say, Ferrari win, as I am team owner, I can pick any car I want apart from the Ferrari, so I could pick the Red Bull, or I could pick Force India, or so on and so forth. But then...
Yeah, Dom, I'm gonna say straight up you're not winning it, because you're 210 points by Mercedes.
I know, I used me as an example.
Yeah. I mean, Mercedes are looking very good in both championships. They've got consistent drivers, and that's why they're leading at the front.
Yeah, is it not
the F1
Williams
drivers
from,
in Mercedes?
It's not Williams from Force India in the overall Constructors.
Williams are actually 80 points back. They are 5th, I think. I mean, it's William. I mean, Mercedes have almost a 100-point lead over the next 3. As Joan is now in the pits for intermediates, is that a mistake or is that... I think that might be a mistake there because I don't think it's intermediate. I don't think it's gone back anyway. Yes, as Dom pointed out actually, Fast Part Time, he actually pointed out that the overall winner of the Constructors, which is currently Mercedes, gets first pick of car for next season. But the difference is, or the thing is, they cannot pick Mercedes again. So they will have to pick somebody else like Williams, Ferrari, etc. And then every team owner with their team has to then change car as well. So you cannot be in the same car as you were in this season, which is going to change everything up. It's going to make everything fresh and new. And then obviously we'll have promotion and relegation as well. Now promotion and relegation will work simply as everyone in ATA, which the ATA board, I guess we can call it that, which consists of myself, Skyline, Part-Time and HLG, will look at every driver that have confirmed that they want to do another season 3, and ask them Thursday and Friday like we have before. As Buttel is now in the pits, I think actually intermediates is the way to go. So there we go. So we're And that intermediates now. Can be interesting. So I think the gaps will stay relatively the same actually than they were before. As a Skyline from 7th is going to go into the pits for intermediates as well. Bloodlines has stayed out on wet tyres. Whether that's a mistake or might be a mistake actually. The rain has slackened off, so intermediates I think would be the best way. Although Krog has stayed out actually. A few people a little bit unsure about what tyres go on. But yeah, as I was saying, they get to pick their car for next season. Yellow flags are set to 3. If there's anything going on. Still yellow flags are set to 3. I don't know who's lost it. 2 leaders have gone back on intermediates. I don't know whether that could be the right thing or not. So you keep going. Very nice message. Yeah, so we carry on. So yeah, a few drivers a little bit interested about what tyres they want to go on to. Unfortunately, the gap between the top has up to 6.2 seconds. Rock, interestingly, has actually stayed out on the wet tyres, but I don't think that's the right call to do. Does it go around now? No, definitely not. It's slipping and sliding all over the place. Got the Sauber of Jake, which has just punted him actually across the chicane. Interesting. And Jake is going into the pits as well, as does the Red Bull of Krog. Krog's lost a little bit more time. It's HRG.
I am back.
Dom, quick question. What is Malaysia next week?
Yes. It is Malaysia next week.
Yes, it is. They're saying in the chat.
Malaysia,
Suzuka.
Japan. Yes. It's Malaysia, then Japan, then it's America, Mexico, Brazil, Abu Dhabi. In that order.
No. It is 6, isn't it? 6 races left after this one.
Yes. Shab Malaysia.
It's been a long,
Japan,
hard journey.
America, Mexico, Brazil, and Abu Dhabi.
Journey done.
Don't even start me. Belongs to.
So, on race or an watch. Oh, floodlight!
Yeah. Oh,
Oh.
championship.
Yeah.
Championship. Couldn't for wins. It's points. We have an. If Frantic wins fast, we have a new champ.
He's leading the championship anyway.
But he wouldn't be as.
Extend his lead by quite a lot, actually. To be fair.
On.
How many lead over? So,
It was the
Finn Belder, he won that race, that gap. And I think Monza, Frantic was at Ice. And now with this as well, just to control the gap even more. Over for those, these 2 DNFs now that he's had. From
Frantic's only had one, and that was at Hungary. But I don't think Flood was.
I believe Flood was there because I think he won the race actually. And the pendulum sort of actually, because he and a bit he had the Belgium and then France.
Yeah.
Don't think they've raced on track yet. I don't remember them being close enough on track.
Frantic and Flood.
Yeah.
I would stand for Rafford. Yeah, he's sustained a lot of right front wing. I think, if I remember, they did a really shine.
Yeah, on, very early on. So as soon as I think as soon as we established the top 4, I guess we haven't really seen them together back in the championship. But I know Floodlines he will sort of give Malaysia to now. With that, I think Krog is going to overtake him in the championship as Desert Eagle left the session. I think he's retired already.
Oh,
but yeah.
Desert, but yeah, I remember that. Oh, as Jake's winning the barrier. Jake, Piper.
Come on, Jake. All you need to do is cross the line.
Not have the best of luck with that car right now.
So as I was saying, F1 race tomorrow for the F1 division for yourself. I presume you'll be streaming.
I will be streaming. I'm not sure, depending on if both Williams drivers turns up in the F1 division, then it'll be me and Martin. But
I believe they should.
At the moment, it should be just me and Martin, but we're not sure if his drivers are going to turn up tomorrow. That's still.
I believe they should. I believe they should.
Yeah,
because
it should.
Raw Source is there. Plus, you've got a new driver.
Well, only time will tell.
Indeed. I did send HLG a message of the new driver. I don't know whether he acknowledged that or not, but yeah, going into tomorrow's race, Dom, what are your thoughts going into that?
I hope there's no rain. I really want a tight, close race because rain really spreads out on this track, as you can quite clearly see with the 6-second gap to first and second, then another 59 back.
59 seconds, ridiculous.
But yeah, I hope there is a lot of tight, close racing tomorrow, and we can have a good show like we did have in in F1 last week. Was quite a decent race. One of the best races I've seen so far this season. I wouldn't say it's the best, but one of the best. Battles up and down the field. You and Skyline having a nice little dice, and Boutel just storming at that whole race.
Unfortunately, we won't have Eyes the Best tomorrow because he said he caught up with work. So we will not see him. Yeah. Means we need a new host, which I'm going to have to speak to people about that. But we'll get that covered. Yeah, he will not be there.
Who's my other driver in F1?
Your other driver in F1 is Glaze Gator. Maybe race Monza.
He did indeed, and he did not too bad. Glaze Gator for his first race in the league with us. Yeah, some of the drivers from last week in the F1 race was, yeah, they were quite well behaved. Didn't get jitters and thinking, oh, I'm the best, I'm going to win this. No, they kept their cool, got some decent places. Even though one or two of them didn't qualify so well, their race pace and strategy kind of prevailed a little bit more. But what I did want is just a touch of rain, I think, at Monza, because a touch of rain changes everything.
Does indeed. Obviously, the one thing that was great last time out in F1 division was how close qualifying was. Ridiculous. I don't think we're going to get anything like that tomorrow.
You never know.
Because of the nature of the track.
You may get something. I just hope there's no rain. We get a nice tight race because the rain, kind of spoils it for this track.
It does.
Because not everyone's confident in the rain. Because I do not like the rain at all. I hate wet weather racing. I cannot do it. No matter how hard I try, no matter how good the setup may be, it's just not good for me to drive on wet weather. I cannot do it, no matter how much I try. But
just something we need to improve on. That's all. At least you know there is something that you do need to.
Yeah, but we don't get many wet weather races, so you kind of are a bit out of place. I was actually tempted to switch from my wheel back to my pad for the wet weather, but I didn't. I'd say.
You raced this on the wheel?
Yes, I did. Me and Krog the reason why Krog's not exactly doing well on the wet as well is because of the wheel settings. He's got stuff cranked up to actually try and get some feel, but he just still can't feel anything with the wheel. He's got the exact same wheel as me, and I was struggling when it came to the wet. I couldn't feel where the car was turning. It felt as if I had no grip, no aero, because that actually hammed quite a bit. No aero in front of the car. But yeah, I hope we can try and get something straight. Hopefully try and actually get better with the wheel and hopefully become a little bit faster.
Yeah, the only sort of thing I can suggest with wet weather is not revving the engine so much.
Short shift.
Short shift. It's you got to be sort of realistic with it. You know the conditions, or you know the grip isn't going to be as good as it was. So you brake earlier, you take the corner a little bit more cautiously as you would. I mean, certain places in the track where the wet weather could sort of affect you in some other places on the track. So yeah, it's practice really. Really is just practice. I mean, I've been good in the wet. It's just been a thing I've naturally been good at. It's just I can't really explain it.
Some people are more naturally better in the wet. I'm just nah, just no chance. Just can't drive it at all. But you never know. 2018 may be completely different, or maybe somehow miraculously, probably never going to have better in the wet.
I just hope, for God's sake, I just hope that the game, however they produce it, Codemasters, I just hope the game is better.
Drivable?
Because this season is... This season in particular, it's just... No. We struggled. We really have struggled. And, you know, all these different patches coming up and having to test to make sure things are right and everything else.
It's not exactly came out game, not shiny good. It's idle.
I think it's okay now. I mean, it's
yes,
raceable
but
now.
The damage is done. The damage has been done since all the stupid stuff is happened. So I've just realised everyone's on inters for some reason when they're on wets last time I saw.
Yeah, because the weather changed again.
Didn't even notice that until just now. As Jake Pepper's found another wall, unfortunately for him.
He's just trying to run in 8th place. I actually give Jake credit. He's a lap behind everyone else, but he's still
keeping it there.
Well, he's still sticking around, and that's what you get. If you stick around, you get the points.
Yeah, I was already having a bad race as it was. Qualified well, then everyone just took a severe left turn and went, nope.
What do you think about getting 6th in Q3?
I was surprised to even get any Q3 yet, I'm not going to lie.
Well, you very nearly didn't. Ryan nearly beat you in the end.
Yeah, but he said that he didn't do it. But I was already on a faster lap than the one I was on, as my GB takes an awkward line at the hairpin to try and let Frantic
I think he was trying to let the Red Bull through. We've got a lap and a half to go in this race. It's eventually coming to an end. Race is almost as long as qualifying.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. It's such a long track. It's one of the longest in terms of race time in real life. It's like nearly 2 hours long.
It is the longest. Because what I don't get about this track, right, is on the dry, it's a minute 40, minute 41, which is same time as Belgium in the dry. Belgium maybe a few seconds.
But you need to remember one thing. Belgium's a lot faster than this track is.
Yeah, true, but you know, you complete the lap in around about the same time, but yet Belgium has, I believe, 9 less laps in a 50% than Singapore does. Especially if it rains, it is very much an endurance race. Yeah,
because Spa has 22 laps because the full race distance is 44. But it's a much longer lap just just a little smidgen over 7Ks long. I don't know the Ks for this. I believe 5.4. I'm not sure, but
because it got loads of slow corners, it obviously feels longer.
You've got 90-degree right handles, very slow corners, which we'll come up to. Like the last couple of turns is just 90 degrees, but they're slow speed. They're not fast like Belgium. The only slow turn you really need to worry about is the bus stop chicane in La Sauce, and there at the start and the end, they can make or break a lap. Everywhere else, it's flat-ish. Well, majority of the track is flat up Eau Rouge, then Camel Straight, then it's about fourth gear, fifth, then down to third, fifth again, then flat out in seventh around Pool, and then down to fifth or fourth, depending on preference for the pith path. Then you're just fourth all the way down, then just climbing up the box all the way down to Blanchimont, then you're down at second gear for the bus stop.
Yes, but as Frantique now on his final lap of the race. Now, obviously, if he's got a lot of penalties, he might lose it, we'll tell, but he has put practically no foot wrong, really. I was trying to think of the right phrase really to say as he comes round the final corner to yet again cross the line first place for the Singapore Grand Prix. There goes the fireworks. Brilliant stuff. Does he keep the lead?
Yes, he does.
He does, by 3 seconds. So he's got it. Frantique takes the victory from Bultel in second. Still a very good performance from Bultel, but he's lost points to Frantique, gained from Kroger and Floodline, so I'll be happy with that. But still behind Frantique yet again, as Krog has just got the rest of the lap to go yet. He's got the Sauber of Jake right behind him.
Yeah, it's crawling over the back of him.
He's a full minute. He's a full minute and a bit behind the top two. I mean,
yeah, minute 15 he is.
As you said, he's obviously, as the front wing goes flying off the front of Jake. So again, Krog. Penalty there. Look at the rest of the fireworks going off madly in the background. You can probably hear them. They're actually pressurising him. HLG is 25 seconds behind, so it should be alright. There goes the fireworks as Jake is trying to lap himself or something. I don't know what he's doing.
I don't really know, but Krog needs to just take it easy and just finish the race. Don't cause himself any stupid mistakes. But further back, we have HRG who's going to finish in fourth. We've got Matt GB that's going to finish in fifth. Skyline Civic. Jordan, who had a bit of a torrid time at the start, didn't have the best of qualifyings, finished seventh. Jake Piper comes across the line in eighth, and Mr. Pirate Pants, the star, the Mr. Pirate Pants he is going to finish in ninth for his debut for
he
Renault.
He disconnected, I believe.
Oh, well, he's going to finish anyway, but he's not here unfortunately. But yeah, it's been a good race. Not the best, but oh hey, that's racing. That's what it goes.
It's been a lot more cleaner than Monza, and that's great. I mean, obviously, apart from turn one, we'll find out what happened in turn one.
Well, I will get these guys into the party, and we can try and get something off from there.
Thank you. Can you take a picture of the results when you got them?
Yes.
So obviously, Frantique in his new colours, the new Red Bull team. Obviously, very happy of getting that signing over the line. He takes yet another win for his championship and big step towards the title. Red Bulls first and third. They just sprayed champagne awkwardly over each other and gave each other a look. Interesting. Could be fireworks between those two. But there we go with the result. There we go, the result. Frantique takes the victory ahead of Bultel in second. Krog on the podium in third. Apparently with no stops. That's not right. HLG is fourth ahead of Maddie GB in fifth. So Williams fourth and fifth. Good stuff for them. Skyline in sixth in the Haas ahead of his teammate Joran. And Jake Piper is the last of the finishers in 8th place, picking up 4 points despite being 3 laps down. Yeah! Messages.
Right, let's try and get Frantic in here. Is someone going to invite Frantic? Because I don't have him on a faith list, unfortunately.
Let me get him. I know. Please refrain from saying anything until the stream is finished. Thank you.
I'll take your audio.
Right, put a tick next to your name, please. Right. So, after a much better race, I say, in terms of cleanliness from Monza, which is great to see, but it still came with its drama. And at the end of the day, we have Frantic, who yet again crossed the finish line first. Like Monza, you keep the victory because you barely put a foot wrong this race. Obviously, in your new colours now in Red Bull, so obviously it's a great start for your new team, but even better because you gained some championship points on your title rivals. So you must be happy with that going into the final stage of the season.
Yep, I'm happy. Managed to get my qualifying 3 lap in before the rain came down, so that managed to get me pole. Start of the race was pretty good as well. I was starting to pull away from Krog, and then I just went into autopilot. And then the rain started coming down, and I forgot to communicate with him and tell him I was coming in. So I think I messed his time up a bit on that lap. But I enjoyed the win, enjoyed the race.
Good stuff. And yeah, as I said, Floodline's not picking up any points today. Obviously, he'll be back next time. Your teammate, I'll dress up and I'll speak up on that when I speak to Master Krog about that. Interesting thing with the pit lane strategy, but gaining time over Bulltail. Obviously, going into the next race, Malaysia. I believe it's Malaysia. Yes, it is. What are your chances going into there to even extend your championship lead more?
Sorry, say that again? My thing cut out.
Yeah, I said all that and he didn't even hear it. I was just saying about Malaysia, the next track. What are your chances going into that one?
Not strong. I haven't really raced around Malaysia, so I'm going to need a lot of practice in that, around that track. But we'll see what happens.
We'll see indeed. But yes, yet again, well done on your victory for this evening. Then we go into second place, Bulltail. Now I said at the start of the stream during qualifying, I believe, that you needed a good result to keep up with the top 3 in the championship, and you did get second behind Frantic, but still you gained some points to maybe get yourself into that championship battle. Difficult qualifying session. Obviously, you got caught out in the rain, but still came through in the race.
It is really frustrating in qualifying and the race today. In qualifying, the first lap, I got held behind Jake Piper the whole lap when he was on the out lap, so that was really frustrating. And then stuff that goes unnoticed in the race is really frustrating as well, so I thought it should have been a lot closer. Yeah, just really frustrating. Just hopefully move on and do better in the next one.
Okay, obviously, yeah, you've got to come back in the next race. Obviously, you made a very interesting appearance in the F1 race last week in Monza. Actually won the race very convincingly. Took me by surprise. Although I knew you were fast for it, but it's completely dominated. Will we be seeing you tomorrow for Singapore?
If you want me to answer honestly, if my client at 5 o'clock cancels tomorrow, then you will. But if not, then no, unfortunately.
Damn it! I want you to work.
It's all if she cancels, then I can, but if she don't, I can't. So it's a toss of a coin there.
Please don't cancel. No, joking. I want you there because obviously it'd be a good race. But yeah.
No, yeah, it was a lot of fun. Thank you for the invite.
It's all right, as always. I think you'll probably be in the F1 division next season anyway, so just bear that in mind. So it's a little practice, I guess, with the big boys. But yeah, we'll see. And well done on your second place for tonight.
Thank you.
And now, Muskrog. So, pit lane strategy. Now, I said that the transfer of Frantique to Red Bull to partner yourself was going to be interesting, but I didn't think in the first race we might get something. So, I don't want to be that guy, but if you were still at Force India, you wouldn't have got held up, or wouldn't have to go on the extra lap on dry tyres.
Yeah, don't really know what happened.
I'm stirring the cauldron, aren't I? I'm stirring the cauldron. I want a battle between you two, and
we'd agreed to say at the start of the race, and then I came in, and I didn't see he'd come in first, and I for some reason abandoned it. Shouldn't have done. Should have stacked. Didn't really have the pace. Mucked up my pole lap because I had the stock setup glitch, and couldn't get it on to run for pole. And kind of just literally coasted round for 30 laps after getting that strategy call. And that was it, really.
Yes, but still, another podium for yourself and for the Red Bull team. So, obviously, your team owner, Craig, will be very happy when he hears of the result of you two. Obviously, caught up a little bit on the point side with Mercedes after that race. I think even because Force India don't think they scored any points today, so I believe you might take the lead of constructors. I'll have a look at that. But obviously you're still looking at the Drivers' Championship moving to second ahead of Flood because of his problems. So do you think you can keep the pressure on your teammate, maybe overhaul him, or is it?
Not really.
I want to know, is this? Even fight, no team orders?
I don't think I have the pace. I think Frantique's pace is incredibly quick. And I'm more worried about Boutel actually behind, so and Flood, of course. So that's where my attention's going to be. If I get a good result, but we'll have to see what happens.
Of course. But obviously you never know with 6 rounds remaining, plus the final round as well, which is double points. So I believe I've mentioned that. Have I mentioned that? I'll let it out the bag.
No.
That's the rubber.
We all heard of that.
I thought we said right at the start. Maybe we did, and then you forgot. I don't know. Yes, it is double points final round, so obviously there's still everything to play for. Good thing I mentioned it now. Now you know. But anyway, yeah, still plenty of points up for grabs, so still early days yet, even though we're in the final run of the season. But yes, well done on your 3rd place, Master Grog, and I say to all you guys and anybody that watches this in GP2, you're more than welcome to race in F1 tomorrow. There probably will be space, so be online if you want an invite, obviously. But yeah, that is it for tonight. Craig, Senna, I guess you missed an interesting race tonight, but obviously he'll be back in the comment box next week. But you will see him racing tomorrow alongside myself, Elite Ryan, JJ, JB Racer, Trex Electric, and amongst others, Skyline as well, for tomorrow at Singapore, where Fast Part Time will be the host. He'll be joined maybe by HLG, maybe by someone else, but we'll see. But that's that. But as for GP2, next week will be Malaysia, and that will be the final race before we break up for Christmas, and then we will see you in 2018, basically. So that is that. Thank you for watching tonight, and I'll see you next time.